Are a lot of students all over the country, are a lot of schools around the country at 37%, or is Minneapolis really kind of low?
Well, just recently in the Star Tribune, the article came out about, I think there was 900 and some schools failing in the state of Minnesota with the No Child Left Behind. I'm not sure as far as across country. I know other major cities have had troubles, like Chicago.
Yeah.
And they've brought in new programs like Renaissance 2010 to try to bring in new ideas to the city. They want to bring in 100 new charter schools to the toughest areas in town, and so far they're seeing great success with that.
Let's go back to that $60 million referendum. Thanks. What's the, I suppose the pushers of that referendum are saying we're obviously not performing as well as we'd like, so we need to put more resources into the system. Mm-hmm. And you would obviously argue against that. Tell me what you would say to that point.
Well, their big argument, first of all, is strong schools, strong city.
Yes.
And they're saying that, well, by giving us more money, this is going to improve the schools somehow. And I disagree. I do not believe that money is the answer to problems. I think that this is a broken system, and if you keep pumping money into it, it's not going to do it any good. I think there needs to be new creative alternatives to the school system, like more charter schools or universal tax credit vouchers. It's another.
Is there a concern about how the schools would perform if the referendum didn't pass, or are you arguing that really money isn't gonna? I mean, there's enough money there already.
Well, I do think that there is enough money there already, and I just can't. I find it very hard to believe that by giving them more money that the test scores are going to go up.
Sure. Talk a little bit about charter schools. I've been hearing more and more about them. I'm from northern Minnesota, and I have a couple of cousins who made the decision to go to a charter school in Bemidji. And for the longest time, I didn't heard of a charter school until I moved to the Twin Cities after high school. And what is a charter school exactly? And why are they becoming more popular?
Well, a charter school offers children and parents a choice other than their local public school. Mm-hmm. So you can choose to go to one that maybe focuses more on classical education, or one that is an all-girls school or an all-boys school.
They're public schools?
They are connected with the public school. They get funding from the public school, but they have an independent staff that gets to choose the curriculum.
Does the Minneapolis School Board, the position you're running for, do they have authority over these charter schools as they do the public schools?
I believe they do not. I believe they are just in contract with them as far as the passing of the funds to them.
How are they performing? Do they tend to outperform the public schools, at least in Minneapolis?
They're very equivalent, if not better.
Okay.
Yes.
Would that be something you would endorse, pushing for?
Oh, yes, that's what I'm going for. I think the more choice you can give the parents, the more parental involvement you'll have, and I think that's key. I think, perhaps another reason why the Minneapolis schools are failing is just the deterioration in families, and I think the more you can get the families involved in the education, that's going to be key to helping children learn.
And you mentioned Chicago and how they added, you said 100?
Yes. Charter
schools? That sounds like a ton. But then Chicago's a lot bigger than where I'm from. And you mentioned what other cities have done. Was it mainly Chicago, or were there other metro areas that you were interested in modeling our system after?
Yes. Also, Milwaukee has a universal tax credit system. I'm not quite as familiar with that, but I'm looking into that too. And I know Philadelphia has had a bigger push for charter schools, as well as New York. So I'm looking at these things and going, I think that this could work in Minneapolis.
Does Minneapolis hesitate to jump on board with that, or are they just sort of, are they hesitant, or are there charter schools coming up in Minneapolis too?
We are, but I think that if I got elected to the board, that is definitely something that I would want to push for more.
And tell me a little bit more about the Chicago. Did you call it a Renaissance?
Yeah, it was Renaissance 2010. It is called.
Okay, and what was the?
It's a big push to get 100 new charter schools in some of the toughest areas in town, and they're having great success with it. I wonder if I have an article about one of them.
Sure.
That it's an all-male school that is African American, and 80% of them are poor. And every morning they're wearing their uniforms and their red ties, and they all say a creed. And I can't remember the exact creed, that's why I was digging, but it was something to the effect of, "We are college bound." And, I think that's just wonderful. If a school can focus really on a group of people and gear the curriculum more towards, that style of learning, or...
Well, that makes a lot of sense to me. Schools intended for a particular vocations, or high schools that are geared toward musicians or artists, it tends to make a lot of sense. Are any of these charter schools religious in any sense, or are they just as secular as the public schools?
I believe they're secular. I don't know exactly what the bounds are crossing there.
Tell us a little bit more about your background. And you've lived in Minneapolis for...
I've lived in Minneapolis for 11 years.
Okay.
My husband's lived in Minneapolis for 26 years.
All right.
He's a graduate of Minneapolis North High.
Okay. And what neighborhood are you in?
I live in Whittier neighborhood.
I should know where that is. Where is it?
That is, between Franklin and Lake Street, and between 35W and Lindale.
Oh, okay.
Kind of uptown.
Yeah, okay, gotcha.
Minneapolis.
And what schools are around there?
Well, there's Whittier International School. There's Anderson Elementary. There's Kenwood Elementary. I'm most familiar with the elementary. Southwest is where most of our high school students go.
How old are your children?
My oldest will be 9 next month. And then I have 7, 5, 3, and 1.
If you become a school board member, will your children go to public schools?
Probably not. No.
I don't even know what a school board member really does that much. Is that a full-time job?
No, it's not. There's one meeting. Well, I think there's 3 meetings a month every Tuesday.
3 meetings a month on Tuesdays. Are they open to the public?
Yes, they are.
Oh, where are they held?
They're held at the 807 building on Broadway, the Minneapolis Public School.
807 Broadway.
In northeast Minneapolis.
Okay. Well, viewers might be interested in knowing that.
Yeah.
Have you been to any of those school board meetings before?
Yes, I was at one last night.
Oh, tell us about a school board meeting. I don't know what goes on at those things.
Well, last night it was a pretty good one because they're trying to get a contract signed between the Minneapolis City Police and the schools. And there was also the termination of the Heart of the Earth School. I don't know if you read about that in the news.
No, I must admit I am ignorant of such.
Okay.
Tell us about it. This is good. This is good. Now I'm learning too.
Don't ask me too much about it, but there was I guess the principal there was embezzling some money.
Oh, okay.
It was a charter school, and they have terminated it now in hopes that they will start.
Is this the school in Dinkytown?
I don't know if it was in Dinkytown. No,
I know there's a school there, and there's a lot of Native Americans that go there. Okay. And maybe I'm equating Heart of the Earth with Native Americans, and maybe that's a false equation.
No, that's the right equation.
Is it? It was a Native